Ready? I'd like to call the regular meeting of the governing board to order. All rise. The Deer Valley High School Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Bear is absent. Other board members are here. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Do I have a
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Awards and achievements. Any videos first?
No
Okay.
videos. Good evening, President Gregoire, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Weitenheimer, and special guests. Tonight we begin with our state sports champions. Our first recognition is for the state champion Spirit Line stunt team from Mountain Ridge High School. Senior Taylor Campbell Mosley, Senior Daniela Cuevas, Sophomore Avery Klanowski, and Senior Christina Zamora. At this time, their coach, Mountain Ridge head Spirit Line coach Mary Haddock, will say a few words.
I'm so proud of all of these girls for all that they've accomplished this year. These four are by far the hardest workers on the team. They're the type of athletes that you want to clone. They excel in cheer and school, and they always have positive attitudes, which is sometimes hard to find in high school girls. But at the state championship, we were honored to be competing against the competitors that we faced. They were so wonderful, and these girls went out there and they did their best, and that's all that we ever ask of them. Unfortunately, my assistant coach couldn't be here, but we could not do this without her either. I'm so proud of these four ladies, and thank you so much for having us.
We invite their parents to come up for the photo. We invite their parents to come forward for the photo. They're really shy parents. Next, we have our state champion in wrestling at the 145-pound weight class from Boulder Creek High School, senior Corey Crooks. Here to share some thoughts about Corey's championship is head wrestling coach and Corey's dad, Doug Crooks.
Obviously, we're very proud of Corey and what he's done over his career. He's a senior, and we're very proud of what he's done over his career and looking forward to what he's going to do in the future with wrestling. This year, just to say one quick thing about the wrestling, he only had 2 points scored on him that were offensive points the entire year, which is a pretty good accomplishment. So we're really proud of that. All the other points that anybody had scored on him, he actually gave the individuals escapes to go ahead and score. But his mother and I are most proud of the character of this young man, and I'd like to tell 2 real quick stories of some things that have happened over the last couple years. When he was a sophomore and a junior, he came up to me and asked me if during senior night I would go ahead and put somebody else in that was a senior, even though he knew it could affect the outcome of the dual meet, it could affect his career record and things like that. But he felt that the right thing for him to do as a sophomore and junior was give those other kids an opportunity that were seniors and couldn't beat him to make the team to be able to wrestle there. So we're real proud of that. And then lastly, to finish off his high school career at the state tournament, the coaches from the other team who happened to win the state tournament in Division I as a team came up to me immediately after they shook hands with Corey and said, "I'm going to tell you why your son is like nobody else in this building." They came up to me and said, when your son came over, we told him what a great job he had done to beat our kid that we had prepared for this match. And as soon as we congratulated your son turned around and congratulated both of us as coaches on us winning a state title. They said for him to have that type of composure after he just wins a match like that is absolutely amazing. So, as you can see, those two reasons that his mother and I are very proud of this young man and his character.
Our final winter sports champion has been honored as state champion all 4 years of high school. State champion in wrestling at the 170-pound weight class from Deer Valley High School, senior Jacob Swift. His coach, Jake Severin from Deer Valley High School, is here to speak about Jacob's 4th championship win.
All right, I'm going to try not to sound too long-winded here, but he's had a very terrific career. So this season's record, he was 53-0. His career record, 179-0. He's won titles at 126 pounds, 138, 152, and 170 pounds, covering quite a broad spectrum of weight classes. He's a 3-time team captain selection. As far as Deer Valley's record book goes, we've had a very storied program for years, and Jake just came in and basically decimated all of our records. He beat our fastest pins, single-season pins, career pins, single-season takedowns, single-season wins, career wins. He's won 21 tournaments as a Skyhawk, and this season he helped lead our team to 28 dual victories, which is most all-time in our program's history. At the state level, he's also made some records as well. He ranks 16th all-time in Arizona history with career pins, 5th all-time in Arizona history with career takedowns. He's the 30th wrestler in our state's history to capture 4 state titles, the 2nd wrestler in our state's history to capture 4 titles without loss. He's the 1st wrestler in our state's record book's history to have the longest consecutive win streak of 179 wins. And as of last night, we were informed by the Arizona Republic that Jake was selected as the Arizona Wrestler of the Year. So that's actually chosen by the coaches around the state. So it has been an absolute pleasure to watch this kid and be a part of history with him. And big shoes to fill. Thank you.
We invite any other family and coaches who are here to come up. The demonstration classroom of excellence teachers embody the Deer Valley mission through the effective use of best practices in alignment with the strategic plan. All teachers are nominated by peers or administrators and chosen through an extensive evaluation by the district's continuous improvement support team. Director Cheryl Paul is here to recognize our newest demonstration classroom of excellence teacher.
Good evening, President Gregoire, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Dr. Weitenheimer. I am honored to introduce our Demonstration Classroom of Excellence recipient to you this evening. Mrs. Deborah Johnson is the 7th grade language arts teacher at Hillcrest Middle School and is currently enjoying her 23rd year in the teaching profession. Upon entering Mrs. Johnson's room, one is greeted with a culture that is so warm and welcoming. Each student is thoroughly engaged in learning and personal growth, but the environment is light-hearted, which, according to the students, makes the work most enjoyable. Students are eager to analyze their data and see where they are and determine how they get to where they want to be. Through in-depth academic conversations, goals are timely and meaningful to each individual student. Mrs. Johnson serves as a facilitator of thinking and helps students to find their own voice in determining what works and the power of metacognition to know their own learning styles. Please join me in recognizing the very deserving Mrs. Deborah Johnson. I would like her administrators and family members to join us.
And for our final recognition tonight, Deer Valley Unified School District regularly recognizes students, staff, and community members who exemplify strong character and courage. Tonight, we recognize the traits of caring, responsibility, and good citizenship in academic liaisons Gail Hill and Kate Warren. We received a glowing letter of thanks from the Sunshine Residential Homes, one of the group home organizations that Gail and Kate work with on behalf of our students. The letter recognizes their unwavering support of academic advisors Gail Hill and Kate Warren, who are committed to educating, supporting, and holding our children accountable to their academic goals. Each time the children see Miss Hill and Miss Warren at our monthly academic celebrations, they are reminded that there are people willing to go above and beyond to see them succeed. With the support of Miss Hill and Miss Warren, we have more and more children who have discovered a new confidence and exceed their academic expectations. Congratulations to Community of Character and Courage honorees, academic liaisons Gail Hill and Kate Warren. And we are pleased to have with us tonight from the Sunshine Residential Homes, Sarah Turney and House Manager Tyrone Harrington.
First off, I'd like to say congratulations to both ladies. Ms. Warren works with 10 of my boys who attend West Wing Elementary School and Sandra Day O'Connor, and she is an absolute pleasure to be working with them and to have a liaison between myself and the school. In the beginning of the school year, whenever I have new kids, they always refer to her as that lady that sees us on Mondays. But after the second or third meeting, they come home and they talk about Miss Warren. Miss Warren said this. Miss Warren said that. Miss Warren helped me with this. And I have one kid in particular that she has really had a positive influence. She's had a positive influence over all of them, but really had a positive influence over this young man to do better, to succeed, and be willing to go above and beyond what he was intended to do, just by sitting down and talking to her. She always gives them encouraging and positive words, and encourages them to do better in the classroom, and just let them know that just because of their situation does not mean that they can't succeed. So again, I want to say congratulations to both of you guys.
Hi ladies, congratulations. I just want to say thank you because you ladies are absolutely amazing. I collect educational data from 300 children from, I want to say, almost every school you can think of in the West Valley, and you guys are the only ones that come to our academic success dinners, and that means the world to the kids and to us. So thank you for working with us and for being wonderful.
Would you like to do the photo with them since you wrote the letter? Please.
And we move along. For those that wanted to leave, we get down to business. Any of those that want to leave now, we give them a couple minutes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Give him another round of applause. Because you're all jealous that you're leaving. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
How many of them are about me?
I can't talk with my mouth full.
What's that?
I said, how many of them are about me? 10?
No, just a couple. Extra.
Oh, okay.
Michael, good. Can I go not first?
You don't want to go
last.
first?
I don't either. I'll go just before you.
Thank you. Let's move on to governing board reports. We'll start with Mrs. O'Brien.
Thank you, President Gregoire. Since we met last time, I have met with Dr. Weitenheimer. I was able to attend the Student Advisory Summit on Brain hosted at Barry Goldwater High School. And students from all of our campuses in 6th through high school attended. It was phenomenal to see the student-led workshop on the brain and watch the kids lead their mini sessions, and it was just fabulous, all the things they were able to teach these kids. And then to see a couple weeks later when I was visiting Las Brisas School for their flag ceremony first, and then went into the kindergarten classrooms, their student council reps came in and they were sharing some of those lessons that they had learned at the Student Advisory Summit with those kindergartners. So it's nice to see the whole plan in action. In addition, I also attended a student online safety symposium. That is a very big concern of constituents, I think, in our district, and so it was fortunate to be able to attend that. I have a lot of questions, though, for the IT department now, so I will get those to you, Dr. Weitenheimer. And again, was able to attend the Las Brisas flag ceremony, which is just so moving. They do that every Friday, or not every Friday, once a month, the first Friday of the month. And over the last couple of weeks, I was contacted by many constituents regarding Deer Valley's budget and additional resources for the Gifted Services program. They all expressed concerns that Deer Valley is not keeping pace with some of our neighboring districts' gifted programs, and I want to ensure that Deer Valley, that we are providing those extraordinary learning opportunities to all of our students. And so I would request that we review those requests and see if that we need to add that to our budget somehow. So thank you very much.
Okay, Mrs. Ordway?
Okay. I too was able to attend the summit, which was it's just a awesome thing. They choose these topics on their own. The logistics is what the adults take care of, but the rest of it is student driven. They pick things that they know are important to those that are in their campuses, and again, with the then bring it back to the campuses. It is very intriguing and fabulous to watch how the different campuses will share these things out. K-6 campuses usually have a very nice twist because they get to do something that the big kids did. So the mentoring is there. I did get to read my favorite Dr. Seuss story at Las Brisas, Yertle the Turtle. So that was fabulous. They had a great turnout, and I got there a little bit early, and they were pawing at the doors to get inside. We've had a lot of legislative issues that have been going around and around, bills that have come, bills that are gone, the bills that may continue on. But one of the most important things, again, for you is to get on that Arizona legislative website and see what is going on. So if you need to send your legislators an email to let them know how you think, tagging on to your gifted services funding, there is a bill about that. And I would request that when we have our meeting on Thursday, since we are going over the budget, that perhaps there could be a little bit more information on how we're funding our different areas, especially since we've had the reorg and we have had to pare down on our employees and supports for individuals. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Fisher?
Actually, my board report is going to be a little bit strange this week because there's just a lot that I need to say. So for the business end, let's see. I think we had requested a list of employees that were transferring from and where, and I'm not sure if we did or didn't, but I just want to reiterate that. Just kind of we're looking for where the movement of employees for this last year. It was an HR request. I think it was a while ago, and I think it kind of got dropped by us, but I'm still requesting that. I do appreciate Jim provided us the list of addenda today, I noticed. My only question was it said 14-15, but I noticed there was addenda that we approved for this year. So was that 15-16? The file said 14-15, but the addenda looked like it was 15-16.
President Gregoire, Ms. Fisher, those were the 14-15 year addenda, okay, so that we could provide a full year. We have not completed all of the addenda processing for the 15-16 year.
Can we get what's the 15-16 as well? No, I'm just, it's a request. It's a request for information. And I'd like to have the regular position in there so that we know what that person's job is that's getting the addenda, if possible. The gifted funding, based on it is on everybody's agenda. We've all received emails about the parents that are concerned. The one thing I would like for people to really talk to your legislators is not just about the bill that's going through. That bill will really help with the funding. However, if we go to current year funding, those weights are not going to help us. So it's really important that we look at the total things that they're looking at currently to do to school districts. Because if we go to that current year, it's going to significantly impact the funds we have for our kids. And it's important that I see where they're going. They're thinking they're evening things out, but it's important that they know that it's not. The summit with the students, I just have to say one real thing about it, and I think the greatest part of it is that it was students teaching students. All the presenters were students, older students caring for younger students, and it shows that we're starting to improve a culture. And events like that make me hopeful, because events like what has happened in this district do not make me hopeful. I'm going to read this one because I won't say it straight otherwise. I want to take a moment to say that I am ashamed of many individuals in this district, including myself. What are we doing? We have employees making fun of tragedy. We have one board member that likes it. We have another board member that seeks public opinion online. We have yet another board member that's told to make it go away. What's missing? I think the kids are missing. I see a room full of individuals ready to defend an adult no matter what, even though the threat to them is imagined and has been spread like cancer. I agreed to take down the post so that the other would be removed as well, because I thought it was what was best for the district. Since that time, lies have gone throughout the district. I have screenshots. Anybody that wants to see them is more than welcome to. What I do want to know is there anyone here to support the child that was left in a medically fragile state when an adult dismissed him? Is there anyone here to support the child who, after being bullied, was again bullied by being secluded in the office? Is there anyone here to defend, this is my opening statement, is there anyone here to defend the student who tried to kill herself after being bullied by students and by the adult that was there was supposed to protect her? Is there anyone here to defend the student whose skull was fractured when a group of students repeatedly banged her head into the ground? I don't think there's anybody here to speak for those children. I think we're here tonight for adults. We can say all these wonders for one child, but whether you know it or not, we also hear the horrors that other children face. I hear all the time about my agenda. It's funny how the people who say I have an agenda, they've never met me. They don't know who I am and they've never asked. If I had the accused agenda, I had the opportunity to make it happen in my first weeks in this position. All I had to do was agree to something without facts. No surprise, I didn't take it. I didn't do it. You know, my actual agenda was foolish. It was to improve the education for students, especially special education, to give employees a voice that they had never had before, to help our district operate legally and transparently, to start making decisions on facts and data rather than on manipulations from the Mean Girls Club. Now, a year later, special ed parents are still reporting issues. I'm still not completely sure that my child is safe. In schools, we have cameras and special guards for the adults, but students are left to take their chances, and parents can't do anything about it. They simply pull their children from the district. We did manage to help one department whose concerns previously had fallen on the deaf ears of a board member. I guess that's something. After you accuse me of an agenda, please feel free to contact me and find out the truth. Some of you will be happy to know that I will not vote on tonight's HR item. Some of you will not be happy, and for you, I'm sorry. I don't want you to think I don't support the renewals of your contracts. It's just that I don't believe we have full information, and I will not vote without it. It's okay, though. There only needs to be 3, and I'm pretty sure it was known that it was there. Unless the board president decides to cancel the study session again or remove the student rights and responsibilities again, we will be back here Thursday night. Of 74 infractions, we suspend or expel 42 of them. That's 57% of the time we just throw a kid away. How about we meet to talk about supporting those kids, alternatives to keeping those kids, Aren't they what we are supposed to be here for? I would love to see board meetings in DVUSD that are productive, like I have seen in other districts. They have problems too. We have problems. We have benefits and we have problems. But the board meetings here are so combative because we operate in secrecy and lies and bullying and manipulation. Not any one individual, little tiny bits that add up. If we don't fix that, we're not going to fix anything. So we might as well just get tonight done.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. You kind of blew me away there. I'm not sure how to respond to that, but I do want to open up communications, and apparently we got a lot of work to do. So anyway, the only thing on my agenda is, I think I sent you an email, but I haven't got it. The new Arizona merits law that's about to pass, saying we can create our own test or adopt a test. That I just want to know what our direction will be. You don't have to answer now, but just what our direction will be and what do you think is best for Deer Valley. So I'd like to just get out in front of it as quick as we can if it makes things better for all of us. So anyway, Superintendent.
Thank you, President Gregoire. I appreciate Ms. Fisher, Ms. Ordway, and Ms. O'Brien recognizing the work of the kids at the Superintendent Student Advisory Summit. I want to thank Barry Goldwater High School, Dr. Anderson and his team for hosting us. And you all should come back in May because we'll have our student representatives here to give a full report on that wonderful summit. It was a terrific event. With that, I will close the superintendent's report and ask Mr. Migliorino to line up 4.
President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weidenheimer, we do have 4 reports to share with you this evening, starting with the enrollment report for the 123rd day of the school year. We're up 1.2% in our student enrollment, a little over 400 students. And I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the student enrollment report.
I have a question. Jim, what percentage did you say that we were up?
President Gregoire, Ms. Ordway, that's 1.2% comparing the 123rd day to the 123rd day a year ago.
Okay, and then if you don't know this right now, just send it. But is it broken down to which grade levels?
President Gregoire, Ms. Ordway, it is not broken down by grade level.
Okay, but I'd like to know that. I think we'd like to know that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No. See none. Go ahead.
The second report is the financial reports for February 2016, and we are showing a projected carry forward out of our M&O of $336,000, slightly better than January, so month over month, a slight improvement. We were just under $300,000 for the January report. Year over year, considerably better, about just under $200,000 was our February of 2015 projected carry forward. So we're trending a little better than a year ago and on the right path. For comparison purposes, the projected or the carry forward that's built into this year's budget's $1.3 million. So we got a little bit of room to make up in these last couple of months, but if it's trending in the same pattern as last year, we have a good start at least for the first several months of the year. I'd be happy to answer any other questions regarding the financial reports for February.
Any questions? Seeing none, we can go ahead. Next item.
So the next item is the Auditor General Spending Report. And so each year, the Auditor General publishes the district spending. It used to be called the Classroom Dollar Report. It has changed. It comes out at the end of February, beginning of March. So this is hot off the press. Here's the enabling statute, 41-1279, gives them the authority to do this report, or the responsibility, I guess. It does exclude charter schools, so the only data contained in here would be the information for traditional district schools, so not including charter schools. And just kind of a little bit of a foreshadow for some of this information. This is This is good news for us, so I want to make sure I set the tone correctly. Our percentage in the instructional category did significantly improve, and that is a direct result of reinstating full-day kindergarten, so our instructional dollars increased. We didn't change our ranking. We are still third amongst our peer group. And just for purposes of definition, peer group is what the Auditor General categorizes us in terms of districts that are like us. I will also use the term comparable districts as I share information. Those are the 5 comparable districts that are like-sized districts in Maricopa County, large K-12 unified school districts in again, the Valley. Not a whole lot of changes when it comes to the other percentages, just enough to make up the difference from going from the 58% we were last year to the 60% amongst the other categories. Worth noting is they did change the definition of classroom or of instruction to include both instruction support and student support last year. And for whatever reason, the Auditor General did not change the format of the report. So there was a lot of debate about, why wouldn't nurses and speech pathologists be included in instruction? And so they changed the definition but didn't change the report format. So they're still broken out here, so we could add that, as 11.9% to our 60.7% to calculate that, but they didn't do it in the report format for whatever reason. Being third in the amongst our peer groups puts us amongst the highest percentage in the state for dollars in instruction. So what do we get for that spending? So we're third amongst our peer group in terms of performance. So our proficiency in math was 44%, again on the new test. So this is the AZ merit test. English language arts was 44%, and the AIMS science test 70%. So you can see where we rank amongst the other districts that are in our peer group. The report further goes into what they look at cost measures, and of the 4 that they publish, the 4 categories or operational areas, we are low in 3 of the 4. We have made some great improvement in the 4th category of transportation. In previous reports, our cost per mile and cost per rider were very high. And we have reduced our cost per rider to a comparable level, and we are still showing a cost per mile that is very high. We are continuing to work on that. One of the things that we have learned as we work on efficiencies within that department is we have some expenses that we are coding to the transportation department that need to be coded to other areas of the budget. So it doesn't change our total dollars that we will spend, the aggregate number, but it will shift where those dollars will be spent. So the example I can give you just to illustrate that is we've been coding all of our fuel expense to transportation. The transportation category here is for student transportation, and we use a great deal of fuel for non-student related transportation. So our facilities folks, our technology folks, our food service operation. So we need to cost those out to those various areas, and that will reduce our cost per mile, hopefully, in the fiscal year 16 report. I just wanted to note that our administrative costs are lower than the peer group and certainly lower than the state average, and that was prior to the district reorganization that didn't happen until this year. Remember, this data is for the 2014-15 year. So we look at the comparable districts. Again, those districts are the Chandler, Gilbert, Peoria, Paradise Valley, and Scottsdale schools. And this is what their cost per pupil would be, their average compared to against ours. So $595 is the cost per pupil administration for our district in 2015, $604 for the comparable average. And you can see plant operations, $5.28 per square foot. The comparable districts at $5.77. Food costs, cost per meal, $2.49 for us in 2015, $2.69 for the comparable average. And then finally, transportation cost per mile, $4.42 for us and $4 for the comparable school districts. The district also, or the report also looks at percentages, and so those same comparable districts in terms of the percentage, you can see our classroom dollars for the year 2015 is considerably higher than the comparable average, and you can see where we rank amongst the in the other categories here as well. We also look at this on a dollar per student basis, and you can see as many of our comparable districts have had changes to their dollars that they are spending per student. We have had a greater disparity in total per student dollars in previous years. We are more closer to the average of those 5 comparable districts. So we spent $7,032. In 2015, the comparable districts, $7,077. But again, we spent more of those dollars in the classroom and less of those dollars in areas like administration and plant operation. So the report goes on to look at financial stress assessment. One of the things that we've talked about in great detail is the use of, or what we have coined the structural deficit, the use of one-time funds to be able to afford the things that we have in our budget. They note that here in the operating reserve percentage, the maximum amount being 4% of the revenue control limit. Our trend is a decreasing amount of reserves with 1.1%. Available to us at the end of the year. So they consider that a high risk. They also have identified our spending in capital to the fact that we exceeded our capital spending as a high risk as well. There's a footnote to that. When the legislature has made some of the cuts in education, it's a total dollar amount that they expect from the state. So they can't necessarily pin that dollar amount exactly for each district because the amount changes when any student enrollment changes happen. And some of those changes happen over the summer months where we have concurrent enrollment with outside agencies. So a student takes a summer class with an online provider that's not our online provider. That changes the amount of average daily membership that we qualify for. So after we had already closed out our year, we had to take an additional cut to our capital budget that was not expected, and so this shows up as an over expenditure within that capital budget. Again, the capital budget is where all of the state imposed reductions have been the last 7 years. So that I think that this was several years ago when soft capital was eliminated completely, and we tried to zero out the account because the account was not going to continue, and it kind of bit us a little bit there. But that will likely be off the report for next year. Just a forewarning, the operating reserve percentage will not improve for fiscal year 16 because it won't be until fiscal year 17 with the increase to the M&O override where we would start to enjoy a more balanced budget. Finally, the transportation results. We've looked at this a number of years, and I'll try and be brief here in the interest of time. But you can see where we rank amongst this group. This peer group is different than any other peer group, so they base this based on the number of miles per rider. We didn't change positions here, being second from the bottom, but you can see that our cost per rider is more aligned with the average for the peer group, and we need to do more work on that cost per mile as we continue to work on efficiencies. So just kind of in conclusions, we do compare positively amongst the peer groups and even better when you compare ourselves to the state numbers. We did spend less per student than our peer group, our 3.1%, certainly less than the state. The state average is what is published as the, at or near the bottom ranked nationally, and we don't come anywhere close to receiving those dollars per student. But we get better results than the state and comparable results to our peers. We still have some efficiencies. We need opportunities within transportation. We'll continue to work on that. And just as I noted, the cost per rider did improve dramatically with those efforts for fiscal year 15. And then just the final concluding point that I've already made, but declining operating reserve is causing added financial stress on the district. That will get corrected as a result of the support from the local voters to approve the increase to the M&O override. And I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the Auditor General report.
Any questions, comments? Mrs. Fisher.
I have a couple just brief questions. The transportation, are you also putting maintenance in there for fleet vehicles? Is it just fuel, or is it also, is it the the total expenses for the fleet vehicles as well?
President Gregoire, Ms. Fisher, it's all of the expenses for transportation, regardless if it's white fleet or yellow fleet, are in the transportation number. So I use
And
the
that's
fuel
what you're
as
going to remove is the fuel and
Correct.
the white and the fleet?
correct. We're going to segment those expenses out by functional area.
Okay, so that'll make a difference. And then the other question I had is on the reserve, and I know we have been dipping into our bridge funds, but are some of those replenishing cash accounts, or is it just a reserve that we're holding? In other words, to bring us back to whole, is that going to take only from the additional funds that we've received, or is some of that over time going to start replenishing itself as well?
President Gregoire, Ms. Fisher, the answer is yes, some of those are replenishing funds. Of the 5 cash funds, so it works out to be about $1.2 million is what we have projected for half of the cash funds that we have available of the 5 cash funds that we use to help balance the budget. And we think that's more of a sustainable number than we've been using, which has been as much as $2.9 million of those cash funds. So we have used in greater amounts in previous years, including the 5 cash funds, as well as the community education cash. I think in fiscal year 15 it was $1.5 million of community education cash that was not sustainable.
Now, I know we had gone a little bit into our self-insured trust. Is that considered in any of this? So where are we, how is our trust holding steady? Are we good there, or?
Yeah, so for this year, fiscal year 16, we used $1.5 million worth of the Valley Schools Employee Benefit Trust to balance the budget. And we're having those conversations. In fact, we'll talk about that as we talk about the benefit recommendation later on the agenda item. But so the balance there is a sustainable balance based on that. But we have a compounding problem whenever we use the reserve to be able to fund the ongoing expenses. If we don't change the trajectory of those expenses or the projection for those expenses in future years, and we've offset those with reserves, we have to backfill. It's a compound problem in when you have multiple years, because you haven't paid the full freight of that in the year that you've used the reserves.
So part of us fixing that is in here as well, correct?
No, part of what
this report, but
yeah,
when
this
you're
report
considering these numbers.
Yeah, this report is identifying that we have we've used a lot of those options to be able to lessen the impact of the state-imposed reductions.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Nope. Next item, Jim, 2007 budget update.
And I think I have a couple quick slides on this as well, I hope. Maybe. There we go. As was mentioned previously, there is this item will be on the study session for Thursday, so we're just going to kind of whet your appetite a little bit with where we're at. The negotiation solution team did meet this afternoon, reviewed some of the same information, and we continue to work on a development of a salary recommendation. Lots of assumptions here, but I'm just going to cover these kind of in general. We have increased inflation. We have increased students. Those are good things as we're projecting the budget. If Proposition 123, which will be voted on May 17th, is approved, we're expecting an increase to our budget of $6.1 million over the current year. And in fact, just as a reminder, if Proposition 123 does pass, the money does become available starting in this year, fiscal year 16. One of the things that we're contending with is our teacher experience index. Our tenure for our high school, or for our teachers went down, and the state average went up. So we had kind of a double whammy when it came to a teacher experience index. This is a multiplier that's added to the formula. The net impact of that reduced our budget capacity by $1.2 million. As per our plan, part of our structural deficit, remember we have no capital allocation funding any capital needs. We had hoped for this to be $4 million for next year because we altered the salary amount from $4.2 million to $5.2 million. We're showing this at $3 million. So that the district additional assistance that the state is in the state formula that can be used for either M&O or capital, we're moving it back into capital because we have no more capital reserves. Again, making up another structural deficit that we have. The budget balance carry forward is based on this month's report, or for the February report. We hope that that will get better as time progresses. And we're using the current staffing standards, basically using roll-up of students. So we're projecting growth of students to be 0.6% for next year. No additional staffing requests are included in the budget beyond the staffing standard. We have a 6% increase, which you'll hear about with the benefit recommendation later. But the benefit committee is recommending half of that amount, or $650,000 of the $1.3 million be funded from the budget, and half of it be funded from the reserves that we have within Valley Schools. Small increase with the Arizona State retirement. District budgets remain the same. The $5.2 million salary increase that was approved at the last meeting is included in this. Professional growth's been included and expected to be in the salary recommendation from NST. And then really made no other changes, and these projections are based on the information we have at this point in time, other than property liability insurance did increase. We had to add the Sonoran Foothills campus onto our property insurance. So without Proposition 123 passing, here's kind of the details of what that looks like, and I'll cut right to the chase. The bottom line there is $1.6 million deficit. So if Prop 123 does not pass, we're looking at a $1.6 million deficit, and that's assuming that the additional inflation amount, the second line there, does get reinstated if Prop 123 doesn't pass. This is a little known aspect of the legislation, also referred to as the down payment on the inflationary lawsuit. It's included in this year's budget and as what I'll refer to as session law, so it's only included in this year's budget. It would have to be reenacted for it to be included in any subsequent years. We have been told by our lobbyist and the folks that we've talked to that there would be a special session if Prop 123 didn't pass to be able to reinstate that $54.99. It's likely not to be in this year's budget, but they would call back the legislatures into special session to be able to reinstate that if Prop 123 doesn't pass. That $1.6 million, there are a lot of changing amounts to that. Again, we hope the budget balance carry forward will get better, and that could, if it just, again, trending that to last year, that could be another $1 million better number. And included in this is half of that 6% medical inflation increase. If we took the full $1.3 million out of reserves, we took 1.5 last year, so this would be 1.3, then we would have a balanced budget. So if carry forward increased by $1 million and we wanted to take 1.3 out of reserves from Valley Schools Employee Benefit Trust, then we would have essentially a balanced budget if Prop 123 doesn't pass. So we feel pretty good about that. The NST is not going to focus so much on trying to develop a cut list for this particular budget based on that information. They're going to focus their time more on what could happen if Prop 123 does pass. So it's, again, $6.1 million. If you net that against the $1.6 million on the previous page, you get a increase of $4.5 million. And again, $6.1 million would be realized in fiscal year 16, the current fiscal year that we are in. So the negotiation solution team is going to be looking for how that $4.5 million would meet some of the interests of all the employee groups that are represented there. We would like to get input from the governing board on Thursday night as to some direction of things that we need to focus on. We've talked about this, and now we have some more specifics in terms of details. And I'll just caution you, the legislature is still in session, so this is all subject to change based on any other legislative changes that we aren't aware of at this point in time. And I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the budget.
Any questions, anyone?
No, I think we have them on Thursday.
Yeah, I think it'll take us a little bit to absorb this, so keep going.
Yep. Thank you.
He's down.
Okay. We're at old business. Approve the guaranteed maximum price for the Esperanza Elementary School modernization project.
I have no idea
Can I
what I'm
get a
doing.
motion?
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the guaranteed maximum price, number one, in the amount of $6,280,000 for the Esperanza Elementary School modernization project to core construction using the construction manager at risk methodology.
Second.
Okay. Jim, you want to update us?
President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer, we shared with you last meeting the concept designs for the actual project. Nothing has changed since then. We continue to refine things. This project, as we mentioned, would begin in a phased construction approach starting in May and would continue through December to make those improvements on the campus. And just wanted to again recognize ADM Group, the architect, Valley Schools, who helps us with our construction management, and the construction team at Core Construction. A lot of work went into getting this GMP. We were $1.5 million over budget when we first started the project. The wish list is always greater than the reality that we have to contend with, but the team did an incredible job bringing the budget. Bringing the project within the budget and certainly providing a lot of things to look forward to for the Esperanza community. So be happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve consent agenda items 8A through 8G.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 4-0. Action item 9A, approve human resources changes. Can I get a motion?
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve their human resources changes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Before we move further, I had some people that wanted to speak. Did they want to speak at this item or wait till public comment? I have Lauren Sheehan, Cedric Finnan, and I believe Kip Schlum. Did you want to wait, speak now or speak later? Okay. Same? Okay. Then seeing nobody wants to speak now, any comments? Otherwise, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
Abstain, 3, and abstention. Okay, item 9B, approve the board meeting dates for regular scheduled meetings for 2016 and 17. What do we got?
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve governing board meeting dates for regular scheduled meetings for 2016 and 2017.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, sorry, Ann. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Gregoire. Members of the board, you might want to take a look at the November tentative or proposed dates. The second meeting in the month of November is the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving break begins. And so that would be the normal day that we would have the meeting, but we may have to reassess based on your availability and the availability of a quorum at that particular time. Otherwise, these dates are clean and would be the normal regular meeting dates for us.
I would, just my opinion, I would let the new board for next year decide where they want to move that based on their individual schedules. It's too early to.
It's perfectly okay. We recommend that you go ahead and adopt it. Just recognize that the date that's there is the 22nd of November, which is the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving break.
So, any other comments?
Okay, I do have a comment. Are those dates, are they not the beginning of 2016 school year? So that will be later this year. That will be this board.
Yeah, that will be this.
It would be this board.
So, I mean, we can wait to make that decision
It won't be
till later.
until January, the January meeting for the switch.
Okay.
Right. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right
So
Okay.
it's
calendar.
us. We
That's all.
can wait until a closer time to November, but
I don't know my plans yet.
That's fine. We can wait. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks,
great.
Ann.
No problem.
Okay, it's this board, and with that, seeing no other comments, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 4-0. Item 9C. Go ahead, Ann.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the average daily membership settlement agreement between the Arizona Department of Education and Deer Valley Unified School District.
Second.
Okay, with that, you want to just give us a quick highlight here, Jim?
President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weidenheimer, I wanted to just share with you that this settlement agreement is in reference to an average daily membership audit that the Department of Education did for fiscal years 12, 13, and 14. They found us to be delinquent or short minutes at our high schools during those years for those students that took 4 or fewer courses during those particular school years. As a result, they calculated that to reduce each of those students by a quarter. We disputed that, and based on Dr. Weidenheimer's direction, we entered into a settlement agreement, informal settlement agreement with the Attorney General to recalculate that, I'll call it a penalty for lack of a better term, and reduce that by $100,000. So this, the original amount was $288,000 for the 3 years that we were short the minutes, and this would reduce it down to $188,000. This would require the board's approval for us to be able to exercise this option.
Okay, with that, any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, Ms. Fisher, then Mrs. Ordway.
Have we corrected the problem that caused this to begin with?
President Gregoire, Ms. Fisher, we're still working on the actual fix, which just is essentially having to add more time. So it's going to be some combination of being able to either add more time to the day or to each course, or potentially to the half days, or reducing half days, or a combination of any of those three. And Dr. Galligan may be able to speak more about that. I missed a meeting, unfortunately, this afternoon because I was in with the NST.
President Gregoire, Ms. Fisher, we asked our 5 high school principals to meet with a teacher leader group on their campus, whether that was their CIT group, their department chair group, or other, and to take options that would be possible to do that combination that Mr. Miglerino just mentioned. They each did that and have come back with their recommendations from those teams. We actually met right before the board meeting, and we'll be able to massage and then present to you the way that is going to be fixed so it does not continue going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, that was.
Sorry, I have one more
Go
question. This agreement appears to cover 12, 13, and 14. What will happen for this year?
President Gregoire, Ms. O'Brien, that's an excellent question. That was brought up in the settlement conference, and that we will not be compliant in 15, nor will we be compliant in 16. But they were willing to accept the fact that it was just brought to our attention. So the statute dictates what years they have the opportunity to actually audit. So it would have been 3 years either way. It just would have been a different year that they would have included. So they could have done 14, 13, and 12, but they couldn't have done more than 3 years. So it likely wouldn't have changed the outcome because we would have been deficient in any of those years, including the current year.
Right, but will we be exposed to a penalty for this year and last year because it's not part of this settlement agreement, or are they
going to come back and audit us?
Right, are they going to come back and audit us, or are they giving us a pass for the 2 years?
Yeah, President Gregoire, Ms. O'Brien, great question, and we did this was mentioned, and again, recognition to Dr. Weidenheimer for being able to kind of forge through that path when we were in the settlement conference. But no, they will not be coming back. They have limited resources, so we were randomly selected when we were picked for whichever 3 years. They're likely not to be back for a decade or so by the time that they could get around to us again. But it was discussed in the settlement conference that this was one of the reasons why our initial request was to calculate this at a much lower rate than even $188,000, which is the amount of this settlement conference, or the settlement agreement, excuse me. And so that was part of the compromise, I'll call it.
Okay, and thank you all for negotiating through all of that.
Okay, seeing no more questions, call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Item 10A, preview 2016 facilities and maintenance summer improvement projects. Jim, you're a busy man tonight.
Sure does appear that way, right? President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer, we typically bring the summer projects to you each year about this time, so that's not new. What's new this year is that we would like to take advantage of the opportunity of using a job order contract for the summer projects. We in the past have used different methodologies. Most recently we've used the construction manager at risk, which is it's very much the same process that you just approved for the Esperanza modernization project. Some of the work that we are noting in the summer projects is specific to a single trade, most notably painting, interior and exterior painting of our sites. So we think we can go direct with a painting contractor and save some general condition costs of working through a general contractor. We'll still be using a general contractor for the rest of the package, which typically includes concrete, paving, restroom renovations, things of that nature. Total package on the paint looks like it'd be somewhere around $1.4 million direct to a painting contractor, and the balance of $800,000 would be for the remaining projects. And we have listed the number of schools that we intend to improve this summer. So 6 exterior paints, 5 interior paints, 23 schools where there will be concrete improvements, 26 paving projects, et cetera. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but this is really just previewing that we would be bringing back to you guys as it'll be an old business item on April 12th, the job order contract awards. So we won't include, these will be on cooperative contracts, so we won't list them in the consent agenda like we normally do. We'll just list these as old business, so you'll have an opportunity to see the details of the work that we'll be performing this coming summer. And happy to answer any questions.
Okay. I have a question. What is Christmas on here for? I see it under Jeremy's gym floor recoding, and there's 4 schools that have Christmas improvements. What does that mean? It says Xmas.
Great question, President Gregoire. The summer gets shorter and shorter for us each year, so we take advantage of every opportunity. So that would be over the winter break that we'll be actually doing those improvements on some of the on some of our
I just didn't understand what that term meant. So,
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have questions. Any others? Thanks, Jim. And that was just strictly a preview item. Okay. So we'll move on to item 10B, draft 2016-17 employee benefit, committee recommendation.
Is someone doing that? Oh, that's me.
It's you tonight.
President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer. So the draft benefit recommendation that we have prepared, this is somewhat hot off the press, so there's a slight change from what's in the board book, and you have a printout of this presentation at your seat there. I just wanted to give recognition to the benefit committee members. They're listed here. This information is comprised in our agreed upon employee manuals as to the composition of that particular committee. And just kind of a reminder about the process. The benefit committee develops a recommendation. It gets sent through the negotiation solution team group, which gets typically combined with the salary recommendation and then brought typically as a package to the governing board. The last several years, it's taken us a little longer to work on the salary package, so we have somewhat uncoupled the salary and benefit recommendation, and that's specifically so we can open up the open enrollment period for our employees to make changes to their benefit recommendation or to their benefit offering before the end of the school year. We like to give them as much opportunity as possible. So based on that, we're previewing this item for you this evening and intend to bring this back for your consideration on April 12th so that we can start open enrollment the very next week and keep it open for a 3-week period of time is our plan. As I mentioned previously, largely due to our experience, so we're running, currently we're running 104% loss ratio, meaning for every $1 in premium, we're spending $1.04 in claims. We tried to make that up in volume and realized that we were, digging a deeper hole. That was a accounting joke, I guess. I'll save those for my private time later, I guess. But that 6% increase is $1.3 million is the cost for that additional 6%. The committee talked at length about the fact that it's been a while since we've been able to give a significant salary increase, and they thought making changes to the benefits would compromise any increase that the employees might realize. So they wanted to work as best they could to be able to keep the benefits consistent this year to next year. And we have done that in this recommendation. So the schedule of benefits remains the same. There is a 6% increase on the premium dollars. The employee cost is covered by the district. Any dependent cost would be borne by the employees that opt for that. That's a voluntary choice on their part. And that would become effective with their July coverage as of July 1st, 2016. The dental coverage, we have 3 different providers for dental, both Assurant and Cigna. There were no changes, neither to the premiums nor to the schedule of benefits. The Delta Dental Plan did change slightly, a little bit of give and take here. So the deductibles went down, which is a positive thing for employees. The schedule of benefits changed on major dental from 80% to 60%, so that's a slight decrease. But on the Delta Dental Plan, there's a maximum benefit that they receive. It's capped at $1,500 either way, whether it's covered at 80 or 60%. There's a maximum annual benefit that you will receive with that. In addition, this plan changes to include Checkup Plus, which adds about a $300 value to that $1,500 maximum, because preventative procedures are not subject to the cap. So the 2 visits that they get would be not subject to adding to the $1,500 worth of benefit that they get on an annual basis. The rest of the benefits remained almost virtually unchanged. Arizona State Retirement, there was a slight increase from 11.47% to 11.48%. The ACR did go up slightly as well. And as we projected in the budget that we spoke about earlier, this covers using half of the Employee Benefit Trust reserves to cover the expense, and half of it is included in the budget projections that we shared with you earlier this evening. We'll keep the retiree coverage, which is a reimbursement at the in-state rate, which is a change we made last year, just confirming that we will continue that for next year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, but just did want to give special recognition to the Benefit Committee. They've met on several occasions. These are never easy conversations. We know that our employees value our benefits, and we want to make sure that we make the least amount of changes as possible when we make these decisions.
Any
I have a
questions?
question.
Mrs. Ordway, then.
Jim, is there a way to put a dollar amount on what the benefits would be per employee? I know that it would be different, but is there a way to quantify what our benefit package is worth?
President Gregoire, Ms. Ordway, yes, we have that information.
Okay, thank you. Well, if you have it right now, yes, but if not, I would wait till next week. That would be fine.
I'll be happy to put it in the Friday update, or we can talk about it on
I would
Thursday.
appreciate an accurate number. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Okay. Ms. Fisher?
I just wanted to, it's more of a comment than a question. As a school finance administrator, one of the biggest things that hits me every year is benefits and questions. And I've got to say, I have also gotten benefits now as a board member from this district. I know in general employees want to know, but then they don't attend the meetings. But have we considered having Valley Schools come out and just give this is what benefits are, this is how they work, this is your TPA, this is your provider, this is your kind of and I know that we had them come to Glendale a few times, and I've had them come to other areas. Just to explain this is what a benefit is, because benefits is like a whole foreign language. I don't know if it would help. Like I said, sometimes they grasp it and they attack it and they just really love it because they want the information, and there's other years where they just say, yeah, I really don't want to know, and they just don't come. So it might help.
Yeah, President Gregoire, Ms. Fisher, thank you for the suggestion. Every year we look to kind of try some different strategies to be able to get the information out. And this year we're even doing a benefit fair that will be in the middle of the open enrollment, just to try and provide more information about the benefits, the total package, not just the open enrollment period, that people, they have a better understanding of all the offerings, because we have a lot of voluntary benefits too that employees may benefit from as well.
Do we do a wellness health fair for them?
I apologize, I did
Do we
not hear
do
the
a
question.
wellness health fair for them?
That's going to be that meeting.
It's as part of that? Okay, cool.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none. Thanks, Jim. I think that's it for you tonight. Okay, public comments. Oh, Ann, can you? I'm gonna. There we go. Go ahead. I'll call names after she's.
The board invites public comment on the district's business in general and on any agenda item in specific. All speakers must observe the rules of decorum. Speakers must fill out a card listing name, address, and topic and hand it to the board secretary prior to the president calling the meeting to order. Speakers must make their comments in no more than 3 minutes. If necessary to accommodate all speakers within the 30-minute overall limit, the board president may shorten each speaker's time. Constructive criticism is in order. Rudeness, vulgarity, disruptive conduct, or remarks disrespecting personal dignity are not in order and will not be allowed. Under the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the governing board cannot discuss or act on any items not listed on the agenda. Board members may respond to criticism made by a speaker, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be put on a future agenda.
Okay. I'll call in order. It'll be Larry Herrera, Beth Baker, Shannon Keenan, Lauren Sheehan, Cedric Finnan, and Kip Schlum, in that order. When you get to the microphone, speak your name and then speak your piece.
Thank you. My name is Larry Herrera, Arizona School Boards Association. I'm pleased to be here tonight to represent Maricopa County School Board Association. I, along with Stephen Chapman, are the co-directors. One thing I want to say is sitting there listening to you, I applaud each and every one of you board leaders and school leaders for your commitment to give your time and talent in support of the work of public education and the future of which Arizona truly rests. As we meet and work closely with policymakers and legislative leaders, school leaders, parents, students, and board members, we understand that what each has in common is hope for our future and excitement as we move beyond solving problems to seizing opportunities to advance our work. The passion and dedication for our student success that each of you do routinely is inspiring. As county co-directors of Arizona School Board Association for the public, our work is to inform governing boards of model training and leadership, emphasizing best practices in public school governance, and to admirably represent and advocate for the diverse interests of public school governing boards, and to continue and support the core beliefs of each board. As we operate forward, we move with a renewed enthusiasm, endeavoring to harness our shared vision and transform it into collective action focused on quality leadership and advocacy for the children in our schools. Together, we'll make great strides in 2016 with quality leadership and advocacy for all children in public schools. Thank you again for allowing us to seize the opportunity to make this mark in time the beginning of a new day for Arizona schools, children, and families. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Larry, for coming. Beth Baker, then Shannon Keenan.
Hi, my name is Beth Baker, and I thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. I recently wrote an email to you all this week, or last week, and was just wanting to take a moment in person to come and request that as you consider the budget that you really do look at the gifted programming for the state, or not for the state, for the district. My children attend Norterra Canyon, which is a cluster-based gifted school, and we have had an excellent experience there. They've really reached out and met my children's needs. Specifically, though, I do know some of the other schools in the district are more of a SAGE-based model, which is not quite as effective at reaching the children's needs. And I know that the district has looked at trying to transition that, and more funding and more training would be so, specifically the training, just so that the teachers are aware of the kids' needs. Gifted students, mine specifically, struggle with asynchronous development, which means that they might be in 4th grade but reading at a high school level.
and having teachers that can make resources available so that they're reading at a Lexile level that's appropriate, but still content that is not way above what they need to be experiencing at that age. They struggle with anxiety, perfectionistic tendencies, executive function skills. My daughter specifically had a cluster teacher who was able to recognize what was happening and equip her with some tools that were very beneficial. As they get older into high school, I'm a little nervous that it looks like a lot of the classes are based more on acceleration models. Honors, AP, IB are all wonderful, but unless you have teachers who have the training to understand the needs of the students, the struggles and specific challenges that gifted students face, I'm concerned that they will meet with some struggles during that time. The other thing is that I feel like I'm so thankful that we have Mr. Lanningham, who is able to help organize our district, but it seems like if he was able to have a little bit more support, so he wasn't specifically in charge of the training, the marketing, or helping organize testing, all the different things that come with running a very competitive gifted program in the Valley. If he had a little bit more support at the district level, that would also be helpful in implementing the training for the teachers at the local schools. So thank you again. My children have had a very good experience, and I'm very pleased with how things have gone. But as you move into discussing the budget, I would love if you would consider the future of the gifted program in our schools. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for hearing me, and I want to thank you for mentioning, because I know we sent out some letters, and I really appreciate that you guys acknowledged that. And why I'm here is your job is difficult. I don't pretend to understand the budget or any of that, but I wanted you to consider adding a resource for our gifted coordinator and dollars to reach more students. And forgive me, I'm going to read because I'm not a public speaker. So teacher training, marketing. I'm here not because gifted kids matter any more than the other students, but because I have 3 gifted kids in the program. I've had them in Renaissance. I have one in a cluster, and for 7 years. And so I feel like I have a pretty good parent side of things, and I've been very passionate about supporting Dr. Galligan, Kim Lanise when she was helping us, and any of the teachers, amazing things have happened. Now I'm diverting. Let's see. We're beyond grateful for those programs. And as Renaissance parents, we don't see it as like a special program. We're just so grateful because our kids have some things that go on with them. They have special needs. And we're so grateful that they found a place or a home. But there have been some setbacks, and it's been in place for 7 years. And looking at that, I feel like we should be thriving. And the question is we have these great teachers, these great administrators. Why aren't we thriving? And when we kind of visit that with the coordinator, we see that he only has so many resources. He has none. We've offered our services, but there's privacy issues, and completely understandable. But we are so grateful. There's a group of parents that we would come in on our own time and volunteer because we believe in what you guys have put forth for us. I was also here 4.5 years ago when we asked you for the district coordinator, and I'm ever so grateful that we have a board that listens. And we put in a lot of time and effort in trying to see if this was something that would fit, and you guys saw fit to give us that resource. So I'm really ever so grateful. And we've benefited. Deer Valley has never cut gifted programming, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of our district. As such, the decision that you made, we have a district coordinator. Now the teachers, the parents, we all have somebody to reach out to, but it is just one person, and it's like 30 plus elementary schools and middle schools that he's answering to, all the different gifted programming. So, we do feel like he does need a resource and support, and the teachers need the continuation of the education. And with us dedicating more dollars to the budget and resources to this department, it will send a message that gifted services are not just a checked box for our district, but that we're all in, supporting the families and the students and all those that are involved. And it will thrive. more so, because we've experienced cutbacks. We've seen us lose teachers. We should have more kids in some of these programs
Okay.
than we have. So thank you for your time
Thank you.
and consideration.
Lauren Sheehan, then Cedric Finnan, and then Kip Schlum.
Good evening, President Gregoire, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer. I'm Lauren Sheehan. I'm president of the building leadership team. I am representing this evening 63 principals and assistant principals at the campus level. And I want to just open with a quick quote that says, "Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things." And I think that that is key to all of the decision making that happens at the campus level on a daily basis. Over the last few weeks, we certainly have had our fair share of difficulties and joys. And I want to personally thank and congratulate each of our campus level administrators for taking care of our students, keeping them safe, doing the work that needs to be done on a daily basis to communicate, to collaborate, and to inspire those who are working with us and for us in our community. I certainly believe that a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And I appreciate our board this evening approving the human resources and the renewal of the contracts for our administrative staff at the campus level. Thank you.
Thank you. Cedric Finnan, and then Kip Schlum.
Cedric Finnan, good evening, board members. I am up here because of the post that was brought up earlier by Ms. Fisher. And I would just like to speak on behalf of the principal of Terramar, Principal Weiser, in particular my son, who is currently going to that school. He was originally at another school outside of the district, and he subsequently was bullied at that school, got kicked out, and we were not aware of where he was going to go. So very sad day for my wife and I. Reached out to Principal Weiser, and she said that bring him to Terramar, we have room, and we have the resources there to help him. So we did that, registered him there during an open enrollment period, and he has gotten help. As a matter of fact, he was bullied again at that school, and when he went to Terramar, he's received the help that was needed, and we were working with him every day, every night to continue improving his schoolwork. It was also brought up earlier, transparency. I also believe in transparency. I enjoy the meetings. I like the fact that they're open to the public. I wish them, to continue. But we must remember that bullying comes in all forms, not just at the schools, that we have our administrators handle, but also via cyber. So anytime that's addressed, we also have to remember that there's cyberbullying, there's the physical altercations that also occur. So again, look forward to what the decision is going to be on the AZ merit as it comes up. That was brought up earlier, so I am looking forward to reading about that. And again, just I think that Principal Weiser is doing a great job, again, for my son, and was glad that the district was able to hire her and keeps her on. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kip Schlum.
Good evening to the board. My name's Kip Schlum. My daughter goes to West Wing. We moved out from the East Valley about 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. We picked Deer Valley School District as a conscious decision. It's an excellent school district. It was back then, it still is. I just want to make sure it stays that way. And just tonight I wanted to just express some concerns, and I know it was brought up as well. We do talk to our kids about social networks, cyberbullying, being online. We just need to make sure we keep that same level for the adults as well. So I know this is about the children, but at this level we need to make sure we're keeping the highest standards that we can. when there are posts on social media, when there's actions that people take that may, if there's a post that's made in a private setting and somebody goes out of the way and does something to put it onto a public setting on a purpose to defame somebody's character, that's something that we don't see at an adult level, that we do see at an adult level, unfortunately. But it's something that I think can bring undue light upon the district itself that could bring us public attention that we don't want. And it could bring down the district as well. We're doing great in all those areas, and I want to keep it that way. Those other areas, it's just alarming when you do look at that, and it's not just the posts that you see, but when you do look into those posts, when you see somebody else has a public profile, and you go in, and it draws attention to that, and then people are going to dig into it further. And you see that there's other areas in there that are alarming when you see other lines talking about profanity and some racist comments that can be on there of areas that you don't expect to see from people in elected public positions that could come back to harm the district themselves. So I am very proud to have my daughter in the school district here. I just hope that, I know in my job we do have social media training and things like that we look over, and it's something that's very present in our careers, and I hope it's something the district looks to as well. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. That's our last public comment. Future meetings are posted. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I have a request, an agenda request. I was just reviewing. I know we have a study session coming up in a full spring with the budget, but could we had an efficiency study done, which I think, is that going to be incorporated in the budget talks, or?
Ms. O'Brien, that report is on the first meeting in April agenda as a report item.
As a report item?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be able to ask questions. And then the other one is the clear direction results for the governing board members. If we could have that come back, I thought the purpose of that was to help all of us with our communication and working together, and it's been a while, so I don't know, President Gregoire.
Yeah, that one's on me.
Okay.
We have one board member who didn't finish, and I promised to light a fire, and the fire wasn't big enough, unfortunately. So, anyway.
Okay, maybe a future, unfortunately, maybe an additional study session is necessary for a couple
But
things.
I'll work with President Gregoire between now and Friday and try to update everyone, because I heard from the consultant today asking, do I move forward or do I wait, that kind of thing. So Mr. Gregoire and I will talk that one out, and then I'll try to give you an update on Friday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second? Second, anyone?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, we are adjourned.
We're going to have to stay on.